Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
It's
How
been
is
a busy
everyone?
morning already.
Yeah, it has
It
been
has
busy
been.
already. It's a good start of the day.
Yeah, it gets that blood pumping when you have this many things going on at once. And today's just jam packed with things.
Yeah, no, we had a good session this morning, and we're looking forward to this event on LinkedIn Live.
Yep. So we're talking about future proofing your workplace, navigating the skills of evolution. Essentially, what we're talking about is things are changing in a really dramatic way. And what we're seeing is that the skills that you have right now, no matter what organization you are in, will be completely different probably in the next 5 years. And companies are really slowing down and taking a look at what the skill sets are that they have internally. If you look at one of the big layoffs that happened just recently, Cisco laid off 5 to 7,000 people in their workforce. And what they said about that reduction was that it really had nothing to do with economics. It had everything to do with they didn't believe those people were the right skill set mix for Cisco, which is an amazing statement to say that you have 5,000 people that you don't believe have the experience in your organization to take you forward. And there's lots of other companies that are doing this. Cisco's not the only one, but it's very prevalent right now. And one of the reasons that this is happening is the rise of AI is definitely one of the reasons. And the other reason is just the do more with less philosophy. Who has skills that can take you further, who has skills that mean more to us when we're starting to maybe divest product lines and we're not doing as many things as we did before and the nature of our business is changing.
Yeah, and even you know, I've got a really good friend of mine at Microsoft and a senior HR leader. And the last time I spoke with him, a couple of weeks ago, I mean, his whole focus is on assessing skills and ensuring that AI is built into every product Microsoft releases. So whether it's a game, on Xbox, or whether it's a Office 365 product, or Copilot as another example, or any of their other products. And his focus 100% is building an organization that has AI embedded in it, and with the skills that can actually deliver on that in their product. So it organizations are looking at you know their entire teams and figuring out you know who's got the right skills and who can kind of take the company forward, and those that don't, like you said, are going to be looking for work, unfortunately.
And this is not an easy thing for companies to do. This is a very laborious exercise
Hmm.
to go through and do this analysis. I've been at companies where we've had to do this before in terms of looking at what are the skills of each individual in your organization and then looking at the skill gaps. So there are very specific processes by which you need to go through to do this. We've done this before with companies that we've worked at and companies that we are working with. So one of the things that you need to think about is if you're beginning to look at your organization and you need some assistance with this, and how do I start making sure that my company or my organization is set up for long-term success, you really need to have a game plan on how you do this and how you come out with the results that are going to benefit you at the end of the process. This isn't just a guessing game saying, well, I don't really think that Sally is a fit, but I don't really know Sally, or that Heather,
Hmm.
she's a star. Is she really a star? I mean, is
Right.
she just
Yeah.
doing work that we notice right now, but that's not really most important work? Is Sally maybe really working on the advanced technology and we're not seeing the results of her labor because we haven't really gotten there yet? I mean, there's lots of different stories, and so
Hmm.
this is why you need to have a very planful process when you do this work, and it's being done all over. I mean, that this is one of the reasons why hiring has slowed because people and organizations are taking a step back and saying, how is AI and how are all these other things going on going to affect us?
Yeah, and on the skills audit piece, you know, it's not, how many years of experience you have doing something. I mean, doing auditing for skills is a totally different deal, because the best example I've got is, hey, I've got somebody with 20 years of experience. Well, is it really 20 years of advanced experience, or is it really they've been doing the same thing 20 years, same
The
thing
Mhm.
20 years
over
of
and over
programming in
20.
Pascal.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that skills audit is critical, and as you said, Jason, I mean, we're starting to see a lot of organizations thinking about this, and even some of the organizations that we work with are coming up and asking, you know what, can you provide us some examples of org structures, not just a hierarchical structure, but one that's based on geography, one that's based on product, one that's based on functional responsibility. So again, we're helping organizations with some of this thinking, and it's really interesting to see that happening in small organizations all the way to, like you said, you know, Cisco at 50,000 plus employees.
Actually, 75,000.
When we were there, it was over 50,000. But yeah,
Yeah, we were there. Yeah, we were there when it was little. It was just a
yeah,
startup at
yeah,
50,000.
yeah.
Like,
Exactly, exactly.
and this can
Uh,
go on an individual level too. I mean, Jason, you've talked about before, people can also on their for themselves do what you did in your career, right?
Oh boy, what did I do? Usually people say that and it's followed by, this is what you did
What?
wrong. No, I'm
No,
joking. What did
just
I
how
do?
you took it upon yourself to ensure that you did the training to learn a variety of skill sets so that you did not get stuck being laid off because you only knew had one thing you could do and you
Oh yeah, I was a one trick pony. All I knew was, let's cue Paul Simon. Um,
hmm
I only knew TA, and I was
hmm
really good at TA. I mean, I've always been good at TA. That's
hmm
always been one of my strong skills. But I really worried about the fact that, hey, I'm hiring people, and it just seemed really, obvious to me that what happens when I don't hire people anymore? What happens when a company doesn't need to hire people
Mhm.
anymore? I'm a chronic worrier, so I always worry about things. And so I started to think maybe I needed to diversify my skills a little bit. So I actively diversified in HR where I just learned different
hmm
things so that I could learn and know as much as I could about
hmm
the discipline so that I had, multiple experiences that I could apply. Now I didn't get, I probably didn't, I didn't punch, every, you know, place on my dance card. I really never got good at learning and development because there were so many people that were better than me at that. And
hmm
I deferred to them. But other than that, I think I punched just about everything. And for me, that's been really great. I've really benefited from that. But yeah, if you're not
hmm
thinking about how do I diversify, especially
hmm
if you're not thinking about how do I diversify now, you're going to be in a world of trouble as an employee about what's happening. Because look, I mean, there are a lot of HR people right now that are just so deathly afraid of AI, they don't want to talk about it. We
Mhm.
have, and Heather, you were on this call. I think you were on this call where we were planning a presentation sometime down the road for a company about what's going on with AI. And we were told not to scare people
Oh,
about
yeah.
what the potential impacts of AI are going to be. So we were coached, yeah, you can't really say it's going to take jobs. And we were a bit surprised by that because it will. And we can't be that ignorant of what the reality of the world is going to look like that we can't say things. So
Mm.
we have to be ready to accept the world the way that it is, not the way that we want it to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I think my career is similar. It's all, like it says here, fostering a culture of continuous learning. You know, in any profession, you've got to keep up with what's happening, latest laws, latest regulations, latest programs, you know, tools, etc. And that's part of this, um, skills assessment. I mean, the folks that are investing in themselves and spending time doing that are the ones that will get ahead and the ones that will be selected to join these new teams. So that's really, really important, and as part of this whole process. And that also goes to the whole idea of being flexible and asking for assignments, and having the ability to to be agile and do different things. I know Jason's probably, and Heather, you guys have kind of jumped into roles where you had no idea what you were doing, but you did it anyway. And I remember at BMC, I was asked to head up benefits, because we lost the benefits leader, and they said, jump in and do benefits, and I did that for like 9 months, and I'm like, hey, I use benefits, I can figure this out, and you make it work, and I ended up, saving the company, I think like $15 million on a benefits audit that we did.
Wow.
So,
Oh yeah,
you
that
know,
went into my bonus. No, it didn't.
exactly. So yeah, so again, those are all the things that folks have to do as they think about this new skills organizations that are going to be popping up everywhere.
Well, whatever field you're in, you've got to do this. Like you've got to look at the impact of AI. You've got to look at the impact of companies, and we're back to that catchphrase or philosophy
Mm.
of doing more with less. Like literally, the more you can do in an environment where we have hiring that's not happening. I know a lot of people will say, well, the economy is great, and it may be, but we're seeing a lot of that not translating into people getting hired into a lot of different positions. And so there is definitely something going on there. And so you definitely need to be made aware of that, or you're probably facing that right now, as I see a lot of people are just wondering
Hmm.
where the jobs are, especially in certain fields. And those are rapidly shrinking or changing because of, I think, the two things we've talked about: the rise of AI and doing more with less. Like, can somebody do, 2 jobs or 2.5 jobs instead of just the one thing that they're doing right now? If you can only do one thing, we're going to keep the person that can do 2.5 jobs and pay them the same amount of money. Heather, you and I just had that conversation this morning about you
We
being
did.
once asked to do your job as the director at a hotel, and then they're like, hey, could you also be the director of sales and take on both roles? And you said,
Yeah,
oh yeah, sure.
yeah,
And then you were like, oh, dang, what did I sign up for?
Yep. You got that
no,
right.
that's very true, very true. Um, and then the one thing that a lot of organizations have not done over the last 5 to 10 years is workforce planning. When your company is growing up and to the right, and when you're hiring a boatload of people, it's really, at that point it's all about, you know revenue, or investments in your company can hide a lot of problems.
Mm,
And one of the things that can happen is that you can over hire in certain areas, over invest, and also you're not taking a look at your demographics. And if you're an organization that's a tech organization as an example, and that we work with one of them, where a lot of your workforce, is probably in their, late 50s, early 60s. If you're not planning for those transitions, how you're going to transition, key development roles, key product management roles, key sales roles, over the next, 3 to 5 years, you've got to have a plan in place, and you've got to be strategic, because you may get surprised. You know, the stock is going up and to the right, and people have made a boatload of money, and they may pull that string earlier. That retirement, ripcord quicker,
mm.
because of that. So, being prepared and having a good workforce plan as well as a succession plan, is so important right now, and organizations need to focus on that.
Yeah, the old coach and football announcer, John Madden, who passed
Hmm.
away, used to say a phrase that I thought was super appropriate. And he always said, winning is the best deodorant. And so when you're winning and you're doing well, it covers up a multitude of things. I mean, you can't see, you don't have to smell all the bad things that are happening. And when you're not winning, all of a sudden, all of those things that have been problems get amplified. And so you're correct. If you haven't been doing what you need to be doing when you're in a boom time, when you get to
Mhm.
a less than boom time, you're going to have those same problems, and they're probably going to amplify.
Yep, exactly, exactly. And so it's so important for folks to start thinking about this because um, we think we're starting to see the signs of skills becoming much more critical for organizations. Uh, and the last time I checked, not a whole lot of talent acquisition functions were focused on skills. They're focused on finding that unicorn with the right with the right number of years of experience, the right school, the right companies, and skills plays nothing into that. And so, that's going to be a totally different approach of, you're going to have a limited number of hires, and they're going to have to be, you're going to have to hit home runs on those because that's so important, in this kind of an environment.
Yep, it's definitely a tight environment, and we have not seen signs of it untightening yet. And we'd like to, because we'd love to see a lot of people who aren't in the workforce jump back into the workforce. But things are changing, and we have to accept that. We've got to look at that, and I think that our big comment here and takeaway is, if you're an organization, you've not started this planning or you haven't thought about it, we're here to help you. We can do this planning for you. We can be there. We can help you get it done, and we can help you start thinking about your future, your employees' future, and where you're going to go. And this is why I love the road analogy. I mean, there's an open road in front of you. Are you going to be able to hit the accelerator and go, or obviously this looks like the road from LA to Vegas, or are you gonna hit the gas pedal, and are you gonna overheat in the middle of the desert and with your hood up while somebody else passes you by? And that's the analogy that you don't want as a company. You don't want the hood up and sitting by the side of the road. In fact, Ray, you had a interesting conversation, I think, with a company head of HR that will remain nameless, and they said to you this week, "Hey, look, we were one of the top 3, and for whatever reason, we didn't keep the business, and it kept getting to the top 2, and now we're in danger of being open." Is that kind of correct?
That's correct. I mean, this was a high flying company, and from 20 to 23, uh, and all of a sudden, you know, they weren't getting the business, they weren't getting the investment, and all of it was going to the top one and first and second players, and they had to go from 150 employees to 72 employees, within the last 6 months. So that can happen very quickly if you're not figuring out how to get to that top tier uh, from a company perspective, the top one or top two, because if you're number three, they kind of forget about you, and that's exactly what's happened with this organization.
Yeah, and that was really interesting, because when you said the name of that organization, I stopped, because I said, "Wait, that organization?" And you're
Hmm.
like, "Yes." And I repeated the name, and I was
Hmm.
like, "Oh my God, that organization was really like high flying." Like, if we
Hmm.
said it on this call, which we never would, we you would know it and you would be surprised. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty shocking. But that's not that uncommon right now. And that's happening in a lot of places where
Yep.
things are just, where you were is not where you are right now. And look at Bumble. The same thing happened with Bumble. Look how hot they were, and they have just had a precipitous fall because things have changed so much in the
Yep.
world of dating apps. Just what's
Hmm.
happening is not what was happening before, and things have changed, and people's priorities and what they want out of an app and what they want to do out of dating is different, and that's affected somebody like Bumble to a very great extent, who hasn't kept up with what that change looks like.
Yep. So true.
I'm taking that one out of the news so I can quote that.
That's right.
You're okay there.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
okay
okay to
there.
quote that one. Yeah, we're okay
I
to
can
quote
quote that one.
Oh,
Anything that
fantastic.
I quote is always readily available in your news cycle. All
There
right.
you go.
Well, I think we're limited to 20 minutes today, but good conversation, and we look forward to talking to you all again next week.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
Oh, can I
Cool.
do the 888 announcement?
Yes.
I love it because I feel like I'm on a
Mhm.
made for TV product show. And then if you need to get a hold of Thrive HR Consulting, we can be reached at 888-393-3453.
Good job.
Thank you.
Or feel free to email us at the emails below, or hit us up on LinkedIn. I mean, we're available. Love to help you.
It's a working phone number. So if you want to call either of us, no, that's not
Hmm.
three. If you want to call, either of us, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can
Mhm.
just hit that person's extension and you will actually get them and they will pick up live and talk to you.
Exactly.
So
That's right.
What a concept.
once again, it's 888-393-3453.
Call us.
Call us. Thank
Have
you.
a great day.
All right,
Thank you,
bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.